Hey Linchpinners, Jay here, going to offer you some recommendations and modifications for ways in which you might adapt our CrossFit Linchpin workouts for kids. We're going to take a closer look at Tuesday the 11th of January. Now we've got a 5k run time trial, so running 5k for time. Now for our advanced kids, to be quite honest, especially those children that are pushing sort of in the upper areas of capacity, they're teen, pre-teen, I think giving them a shot at running a 5k is absolutely appropriate. Based on my experience with my son, he's 10, he's more than capable of running 5k. So I would say, okay, we're gonna run 5k. Here's some caveats to that. Now, it might just be that you're going to run 5k the distance, we're not gonna time it. That depends on sort of the emotional maturity and how well your children could handle holding a pace rather than maybe let's develop some mental fortitude, improving that we can do something like running a 5k, rather than let's do this for time where we add that extra level of intensity. That said, some of your children might be able to run a 5k for time. So if you've got some of those advanced children, give them a crack at it. These is one of those workouts where, you know, our children can learn a lot about themselves from doing something that's could be quite challenging for them. For our less experienced children, we're not going to offer them a 5k. Here's some options that you could give them. We could give them a 1 mile run, and that could be in the same ilk as I suggested before. Let's just do this without stopping. Let's complete 1 mile without walking. It could be that they need to have some walk in there, so we're going to run 300 meters and walk 100 and complete that 4 times, for example. Or something completely different, 10 100s. Let's go out, do some sprints on a sports field of some sort. Or we could set them a little challenge. And again, this offers them an opportunity to prove to themselves what they're capable of. And that's a max distance in a certain amount of time. And depending on where your children are at, that could be 6 to 10 minutes. I've got some suggestions here for how you might mix it up a little bit, if you like. A nice way to do some of these running activities to make it a bit more play-based as we like, and make it a bit more fun as we like to have in our CrossFit Kids workouts, is to make it into a relay. Make it a bit competitive with other groups, especially if you're in an affiliate setting. Or if you're working at home and you've got 2 children or 4 children, this could be a nice way to get some camaraderie and some teamwork in there. So we've got some relay runs. So pick a distance and run it as a relay. A nice option is something called a parlauf, and parlauf is translated into pair running. There's lots of information on different ways and structures that you can run a parlauf, but I'm going to show you one here. Basically, if you have a running track, it could be a 200 or 400 meter loop. You have 2 people running together, they're on the same relay team. We have the blue runner, they'll start on the right hand side here. They will run around and hand over the baton or tag the red runner, their partner. While the red runner is running round, the blue partner is using the jog across as recovery to make it back to the other half. And then they will complete the handover again, and then the red person would jog across and wait there for the blue person to run around. A nice way to increase a bit of intensity, but also some intervals, but also some nice active recovery jogging across. You can create your own tracks out there. There's lots of different ways you can cone off different tracks. You could do just a straight loop up and down, but making it thinner than usual gives them less distance to cover, and it adds a bit of distance to the loop, which means they have a bit less time to jog, a bit more time to jog across. And that's one of our parlauf options. There are lots of different ways you can do that. You can do a parlauf for a number of laps, you can do it for a max distance, and you can do it with more than 2 people. Like I said, there's lots of information out there on the internet, so do research that if that's something you're interested in adding into one of your running workouts. Or, I've done this before, and relay challenges are a great thing. You can do this with a class or in your affiliate setting or you're at school, and is how close could you get to, say, the 5K world record as a team? Now, you could pick it on a track, and then you might have 10 people in your team, so you get lots of rest, or 5 people in your team, and then you choose a certain amount of distance to run. So it might be you do half a lap or a whole lap, and then you swap over. And seeing as the 5K world records were recently broken, that could be a nice one to do then. How many of you would it take to keep high enough pace so that you could be challenging that world record? It's a great insight to how incredible some of those athletes are. Now, because we've got quite a simple modality today, single modality, I'm going to show you a video of some handstand progressions. So we've done some plank progressions in the past, we've done some bar hanging progressions. Some of these handstand progressions are great to use, and they sort of, I'll have videos for you for each stage of those and what they look like. So the first stage would be a forward roll, and then other roll variations. We always like to have a roll in a general CrossFit Kids class. It stimulates that vestibular system, and it's excellent for that sort of spatial awareness and understanding their body in space. And then we'd have a stink bug, which is a piked plank position. There are also reasons that we have a forward roll in there, which I'll go through in the videos. And then we have some toe taps. I'm going to show you a video on some toe taps and the progressions within those toe taps. And that's interchangeable between wall walks. So our toe taps is basically teaching the children how to kick up for a handstand. And the wall walks are showing them how to get inverted and allowing them how to get inverted if they haven't quite got that kick up just yet. Then we have those handstands where they would kick up into the handstand. Finally, you'd be surprised if your children work through these systematically and into the handstand, how quickly they'll get a strict handstand push-up. And then moving on to handstand walks finally. And I'm going to have some wall walk and handstand games and challenges, much like the plank and the bar hanging progressions that we've gone through in the past. Have fun with these workouts, guys, and have fun fitting these handstand progressions either in as your warm-up or a skill at the end as a sort of cool-down skill development. We know that after children have done some exercise, they're really in a great place to take on a new skill and keep that new skill rather than if they did it just at the beginning. So it's a great option to have these skills after they've done a workout. Have fun, guys.
So the next few videos, I'm going to take you through some handstand progressions and the steps that we'd work through to get there. The first one is a forward roll. Forward roll is important so the children can learn to become inverted. It's also a good way to bail from a wall-facing handstand. The next is a stink bug, which is the pike plank. So here we're gradually getting the children more inverted. That can move on to pike handstand push-ups. You can also increase the difficulty by getting the children to put their feet on boxes, so they're gradually getting more and more inverted. You can see with the pike handstand push-up that we're getting the children to lower their head towards the fingertips to create that tripod. The next progression would be toe taps. This is really a progression to teach the children how to kick up. What we're really looking for is that the children don't overarch during that in their back during the kick up here. We're looking for a nice flat midline. You gradually lower the box and they get higher with their kick up until they can kick up against the wall. And you can see you can do it from a floor, and then eventually you move on to them being able to do a full kick up handstand. This would work in tandem with wall walks. Okay, now the wall walks you can scale by walking up less height, and so they're less inverted, but always getting them to hold that nice sort of hollow position where they're stacking shoulders and hips and eventually legs over that center of their mass. And as you can see, you can gradually get higher with those wall walks. Now you can see here that if the children got into trouble, knowing the forward roll would be the way that they would bail out of this. Once they've mastered that, then they're ready, the kick up and the wall walks, they're ready to move on to a full kick up handstand. And you can see here, just getting nice and close, pushing down into the ground. Finally, you'd be really surprised if you're systematic with all of those progressions, your children would very quickly be able to get themselves inverted and then do a strict handstand push-up. Once they've got a strict handstand push-up and those other progressions, challenge them with a handstand walk here. Finally, as with our bar hanging progressions and our plank progressions, we have some games that you could play. And here are some ideas. You could have a wall side-to-side traverse, so they're against the wall walking side-to-side. You can do that facing away from the wall, or you could do that wall facing. A scaling option for that would be to do it in a less of an inverted position in a wall facing, like a wall walk. You could even lower that to, this would be our roving plank from our plank progressions. Again, you've got a handstand shoulder taps. So you can kick up. Again, you could do this facing away from the wall or wall facing. Again, you could do that from a plank position or on a box. Also, one of the other scaling options is facing the wall but not quite inverted. Finally, if they've got all of those skills, working on some handstand 360s, much like our bar hanging 360 but against the wall.